Could you guys hear that?
My light's just dimmed.
That's weird. You mean mentally?
It's already at 50%.
I think we're live. In 3. I already counted. What am I doing? I can't count again. Bah! And we're live. Shout out to the enigmatic Zach Hicks. I don't even know what that word means, but it came to mind. Captain Zach Hicks is here. We got Todd Ellis here. Hello, Gav. Let's see, Todd. For the record, Airphone, I did say about a week ago that the event would be underwhelming, not the production quality, just the product announcements. What are you, Rasputin? Boy, were you right. We got Adam Broussard here. He is demanding a very enthusiastic, yeah. That's for you, Adam. Not even going to explain it.
Jeez.
Oh, the tweets. The tweets. Lewis Gall. Have you ever seen a tweet and you're like, that is the most clickbaity tweet I've ever seen, but I got to click it to know what happens? Well, I present you Exhibit A.
I'm not seeing that live thing. Is it live?
We're
I guess it must
100%
be
live.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. We're live. We're going live.
That's good
We
news.
got
That's
Dave
good
Fink
news.
here, evening from the UK. Jen said, Gav. And people are rolling in. Guys, we got so much to talk about this week. Oh, my gosh. I don't even know how we're going to get through all of it. I don't think that we will because Leander has a very important appointment at 1:30 in his bathroom. 30 sharp.
Oh, wow. That's a dual emoji tweet.
Yeah. H-E. Do you get it, Lewis? H-E.
I do.
Double hockey sticks.
Although
It's too good.
I also see a puck there. What the puck?
Well, you know what? They don't have just a hockey stick without the puck, so I had to use the resources I had available to me. We got Reese Grundy is here with a very, very enthusiastic hey y'all. Adam Broussard. I like that Apple doesn't do as many exploded view graphics anymore. You mean like the ones that show all the different features? Is that what you mean? I kind of like those, honestly. No new AirPods. I know, dude. Level Remix is here. Gal, we'll talk about it. This is one of the stranger events that I've ever been a part of. And by been a part of it, I just mean watched it. Let's see here. Glenn Ellert says, I am a walnut. Oh, shoot. John Pross is here. We're going to have to not be too hard on John. Welcome, John. I'm just joking. We weren't going to kick you in the nards too hard. Too hard. Just slightly. Adam Broussard, I feel like. Not I like. Okay, got it. Great big phony here. Oh, come on, man. Don't be so too hard on yourself. If Gurman hadn't gotten it wrong, if Ming Chi Kuo hadn't alluded to the same thing, dude, from everything that I've seen, I think they pulled it last minute. I honestly think they pulled the Apple Watch last minute. And we'll talk about why I think that. I think the evidence is overwhelming. Like, they had something up their sleeve, they were going to release it, and then they were like, oh no, abandoned ship, y'all. And then they had to pull it out last minute. So what's it like? So what's the deal? When am I back on the show? Dude, you can come on back on anytime you want, dude. Anytime you want. Open invitation. Apple Watch update was silly. God, dude.
How about now?
Yeah, you know what? I thought that too. But then I got to add a camera angle. But shoot, you know what? Maybe we could try to do that real fast. John, you want to try and come on right now? I mean, you're in the chat. You could stay in the chat too if you want. Or you can come on. I don't remember how we did it last time. Did we do it on Skype? I think we did.
Don't we have like a limited amount of time?
Yeah. Sorry. No. We can't. Leander's got a piece out of here in 60 minutes sharp, and we don't have John on the audio side, so we can't. John, we should work something out because I would love to have you back.
Next week.
Yeah,
I just
next
realized I sent you an image of the Apple Watch casing like a real photo. Yeah, you did. Should I show it? Apparently, the guy that sent that to you, he might have been a mole. Yeah, next week, dude. Come on. He might have been a TC mole. Did you see my tweet, man? I think you got Tyrion Lannister, dude. TC, he was trying to figure out who the mole is. I do have the proof. Yeah, that's true. Hey, man, I believe you. You're preaching to the choir. I think that what you had was legit. I just wonder if I would be not totally surprised if we ended up seeing that exact same thing next series 8. To me, it seems like that's the one that they're working on, and maybe it's not ready yet, and so we got this really lame update instead. But
Really lame.
Wow, so negative.
do you disagree?
Well, yeah,
Well,
it's
of course
not,
you disagree. I'm sorry. Who am I talking to? Yeah, of course you disagree. You thought it was astonishing.
I thought it was
It
kind
is
of
a
cool,
cult,
even
you
if
know.
it is kind of lame, but it is kind of cool at the same time.
It's almost like you're part of a Mac cult, like a cult of Macs. Okay, let's go live here. We got enough people here watching, so let me cue up Mrs. You Know Who, Mrs. D. I love the Series 7 Apple Watch. I can't wait to wear it. Oh, really?
Strap it on my thick wrist.
Well, I'm underwhelmed by it. You shut your mouth. Okay, Mrs. D, God, you don't have to get so aggressive. You're like Leander Caney with that thing. It's okay. It's okay to be underwhelmed once in a while. Speaking of underwhelming, I see our listenership is dropping, so let's go ahead and get this show on the road. I don't want to disappoint
great
anyone
news.
further. So let me cue up the music. I got our notes here, and we will we'll get this thing moving here. Here we go. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30+ minute conversation you're gonna hear all week long. I'm your host, Earphone Elijah. Join me today. He was so stunned by the Apple Watch Series 7 that he didn't notice a. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong. That's the wrong one. Sorry. Oh, here we go. I forgot to scroll. He was so stunned by the. No, I'm doing the wrong one again. Also joining us, he's been in a wheelchair since being resuscitated during the California streaming event, but doctors expect a full recovery. He's the founder of Cultimac. Leander Caney is here.
Hello.
Here we go. Here's the right one. Also with us, he was so stunned by Apple Watch Series 7 that he didn't notice a Cultimac writer escaping from the writing cage. He's on the hunt, though. We'll get him back. He's the managing editor of Cultimac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Hey.
God, I screwed that up so bad.
It's impressive.
Which doesn't normally happen. I'm normally on point, but we got a lot of things moving here. So, welcome everyone in the chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this episode. This is going to be our California streaming event reactions, and we'll talk about iPhone 13. We'll talk about Apple Watch Series 7, the astonishing Apple Watch Series 7, iPad Mini. We'll react to all of it, and then what I thought we could do, I thought this might be helpful because I was telling Lewis this. He disagrees. But I feel like the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro are more similar than the normal iPhone and the Pro models have ever been. In fact, I really don't know which one I'm gonna get. And then you take into account that the iPhone 13 Pro is only available in let's see here, Honda minivan blue. Let's see, can I? I'm gonna show this to you guys. This once you see this, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin it for you. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Here is the Honda Odyssey, okay? Let's go back to the image here. Oh, no. And there we go. And there is the iPhone 13 Pro. Honda Odyssey, minivan blue. Notice something there, Lewis? I'll tell you what happened. I think one of the industrial designers grew up and getting carted to their soccer matches in this blue minivan here, and then had this epiphany here later in their career, because this is literally the exact same color, and this is what I think of when I see these two things. Yeah, Lewis.
They said they're made all of 100% recycled aluminum. Maybe they just recycled those minivans.
Yeah, that might be true. I mean, it is steel, right? You might be right. So there you go. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. Before we dive in, though, let me give a hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace.com/CultCast. If you're still in need of a website because you have been procrastinating for the last 5 years, we've been talking about this, and you're like, you know what, now's the time. I'm going to start my sock company that I've always been dreaming of because I'm just such a huge fan of socks. And I need a way to sell my socks and show my socks to the world. Well, that's what I've been trying to tell you guys for the last 5 or 6 years is you can go to squarespace.com/cultcast. You can start or build a website, super duper easy. You'll be able to create a website showcasing all of your different work. You can sell products and services of all kinds. Maybe besides selling socks, you want to teach people how to knit socks. That would be cool. You could probably make that sounds like an untapped market right there. You could probably make tens of thousands of dollars a year just teaching people how to do that. You can highlight your portfolio, build a blog, and one of the things I always say is you can just have a simple web presence. So a one-page website with an impactful image or video in the background that just talks a little bit about yourself, shows your social media, and gives potential employers a way to see how cool you are and why you're so much better than all the other, losers that are applying for that same job. It really puts you one step ahead. And I heard that putting a website up like this is how Alex E. Heath made his way through the ranks. He ended up with The Verge, which was career suicide, let's be honest. But this is how he did it. But squarespace.com/CultCast to get started, build a website, see how you like it. And at the end of the trial, if you like what you have, you can use code CultCast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase. And if you do a year of service, you'll get an extra discount, which is what I do, and a free domain name at squarespace.com/CultCast. Alrighty, let's just dive right into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. First, I thought we could start with just overall impressions of the event. I feel like this is kind of a weird one. It seems like you guys might disagree. Lewis, what did you think of the California streaming event?
Well, a lot of surprises, a lot of you know what? I thought it was a super impressive event. I mean, I thought the promo videos more impressive than ever, and just like completely fun to watch. It was like like going to like a short film festival or something.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see? I mean, did you pay attention to the whole thing? I mean, like the thing where the helicopter pilots are suddenly in an aquarium in somewhere, something. You remember that scene? The close up of that zipper, all those things. I mean,
Yeah, the zipper,
really
amazing.
All these things that
don't
were
even get me
just
started
like
on the zipper.
excellent filmmaking.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a lot more sizzle than steak this time, but I don't know. I thought it was an impressive and entertaining event. I mean, they did a good job of saying, "Hey, look, this is slightly better than last year," and maybe making you not realize.
They
that,
did a
right?
good job at telling you, "Hey, look, this is slightly better than last year." Gal, there's nothing else to say. That pretty much summarizes it right there. Leonard, what did you think?
I'm a Lewis. Yeah, the production is the best thing about the whole thing, isn't it? And the product videos. I mean, there's a couple where I was laughing out loud. They were better than some recent movies I've seen.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was just amazed by. I mean, like it's like they got that, this Hollywood connection through Apple TV Plus, and now they've got all these excellent filmmakers just whipping these things out for them.
That's
I mean,
an interesting point.
it's just
Well, that was the worst one. Catherine Bigelow's. I thought her example movie was kind of like the worst of the lot. Well, not the
Right.
worst. It's not fair to say that because there's nothing bad about it. But like I thought even the first transition when they're in the Joshua Tree, the desert, the Moab, and there's that. You see the stage comes into the shot,
Right.
and then he walks onto it, and then he is on the stage in the at the theater. I mean, just a great transition to start the thing off with, and then it was like after that, the whole thing was like was just as strong after that. It was a great showcase of California too,
Right.
wasn't it? I mean, my God, we live here, and it looks so much better.
California,
on camera.
California really is beautiful. They really did showcase California. It's too bad they didn't show off more
Yeah.
products, but California, beautiful place to live.
Where was that? Where was that? Where's that big auditorium? The big white
That
auditorium.
outdoor arena. I was wondering that. I don't know if that's like in San Diego or something. I'm not sure. But I started when I was watching. I was like, well, geez, I wonder if they got like a bunch of good deals on. I mean, obviously it's like, okay, it's the pandemic, everything's closed or whatever. I mean, probably there's no events in that thing. Hey, you want to rent out our massive auditorium for like $1,000? We'll take
$40?
$1,000. Yeah, I mean. I don't know. Lena and I were talking like, what was the deal with the California streaming thing? And I mean, I think they did a good job of weaving that through everything. It gave it just gave them. I bet they just said, hey, let's just get a common thread. Let's have it be California, and let's get out of the office and get some fresh air and take some awesome video. And oh, by the way, let's remind people that we are a 100% red-blooded American company.
Yeah.
It's funny
Not
No, sorry, go ahead.
powered by a whole bunch of people in China putting things together.
which
Right.
is kind of
Yeah, we were trying to figure out why they were using the whole California streaming as a motif, and why did they get it? Because they built that huge Steve Jobs theater, and in previous occasions they've used that, and now it's like, let's get out of the office maybe. But I think Lewis is right. It's like, I think it's to remind people, like on the back of all their products, designed in California, and it's just reinforcing that point. It's made here.
Maybe they just didn't want to be in close quarters together.
Yeah,
They're like, if we do, it'll be safer if we do this outside. What's funny
Did you
is
say at the end of the show, there's that long scroll about all the safety
I did
procedures
see that,
and how
yeah.
that's
Safety
wearing
stuff.
masks.
yeah. I thought it was funny. Gurman actually said before the event that he thought that they were going to be broadcasting from different places in California, and I was like, dude, what a thing to actually be right about. Like, that's kind of I never even would have thought about that when they said California streaming. I just thought they were just being cheeky because that's what they're always doing. But they actually ended up doing that, and I was like, oh, okay, Marcus Gurmy, another one for Marcus Gurmy. Well, unlike you two guys, I thought the frickin' event was a gall darn snooze fest. It was one of the most boring events I've seen in a long time. And to your point, Lewis, about it being exciting and an entertaining way to present a minor set of upgrades, that's kind of what it was. I was like, this feels like watching a Transformers movie. There's a lot of bluster and CG, but like ultimately, there's no storyline here. There's nothing happening. It's just a bunch of pomp and circumstance, just to get you in the door. And I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know if it's necessarily all Apple's fault with everything happening with the pandemic, but I just kept thinking this thing should be hosted by Prince Valium from Spaceballs. I don't know if anyone's going to get that reference. Here he is. They should have had this guy hosting the event because I couldn't stop yawning. I was like, this is it? This is everything that we're getting? The most exciting thing here is the gall darn iPad mini. I think that pretty much says everything you got to know. I mean, since when is that an exciting product? And yet I think the consensus is that was the most exciting product from the entire event. The iPhone upgrades were minimal. There were no AirPods 3. In fact, I think the most exciting part was when we realized that the Apple Watch was unlike anything that we had seen. It was basically just a really minor upgrade. In fact, it's probably the most minor upgrade the Apple Watch has ever even gotten. We can go into why that is, but even the SoC for the Apple Watch, the S7, it's basically an S6. They just rebranded it, the S7, and so it looks like it's new and faster and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually not faster at all.
Wait a second. Hold your horses there.
Yeah.
What about the USB-C charger that's now included in the box? I mean, come on. That's pretty
33% faster charging.
pretty massive.
All right, well, there's one thing to get you excited. I mean, that is cool that it charges faster. I actually think that's really useful. But other than that, slightly bigger screen and
Yeah, that's
like
about it.
the same performance. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It really does seem like they had a huge overhaul in the pipes. They were going to release it, and then they basically just abandoned it for some reason. And I think that's kind of clear. Let me see. Can I go to Apple's website here? If you go to their website and you look at the Apple Watch page, they have a really beautiful page up illustrating, Apple Watch Series 7 and stuff, and showing you all the different pictures and everything, and it all looks cool. But there's no buy page that you can go to see like, hey, what different models are going to be available, what straps are going to be coming with it, how much are these things going to cost. So to me, it kind of seems like this whole thing was cobbled together really quickly. They put it up, and the fact that there's no buy page tells me that they did this in a hurry. I could be completely off base about that. That might be totally wrong. That's just my impression. But it seems to me like they were... Yeah, sorry. What was that?
We get into that story we're going to discuss later that you're already discussing now.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. So I thought what we could do first is just go through the iPhone 13 Pro specs and talk about what they have in common, which is a lot of things, and then what the differences are in an attempt to help you figure out what phone you're going to buy. Now, look, I know most people listening to this are going to buy the Pro. They don't care what the specs are because they want the Pro. They got to have the best. They got to have the best, and I get that. I respect that. But for me, I'm looking at the iPhone 13 Pro, and I'm looking at the colors. I'm like, I'm tired of space gray. I'm tired of the silver. I don't want the gold, and I don't want Mom's minivan blue, okay? So I don't really know what to do because I don't want to get a phone that looks exactly like the phone that I already have with some moderate increases in performance. So I'm like, do I get the iPhone 13? They got some fun colors there. They got a Buster Heine pink, which I know he's going to get. They got that new Starlight color, which I actually really like a lot. It's like a champagne gold color. Let's see. Can I bring this up? Oh, yeah. Like the iPhone 13 looks beautiful. And by all measures, it's like 90%, 95% the same phone as the iPhone 13 Pro. So I don't know if it's worth the extra money to get the iPhone 13 Pro. Lewis is disagreeing with me, but let's run through this. So let's just start with specs, okay? So as you all know, iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro, they both get the A15 Bionic, 6-core CPU, 2 performance and 4 efficiency cores. The iPhone 13 has 4 GPU cores, and the Pro has 5 GPU cores. So you get better gaming performance and probably better visual performance. Well, you have the variable refresh rate up to 120 hertz on the Pro. So that explains maybe the difference in GPUs. They both get the same 16-core neural engine. They both have the same RAM as before, with the iPhone 13 getting 4 gigabytes and the iPhone 13 Pro getting 6 gigabytes. That matches the same as the 12 and the 12 Pro. Now check this out. The hell is that?
What in the world?
Really? That shut up that loud?
Yes. Sounded like some kind of car accident out there.
On track out there. My nostrils didn't drown it out.
Wow.
You're. Can you breathe more loudly into the microphone, Leander? Because that would
I've
help
been practicing, yeah.
offset the noise. Okay, so let's see here. Where was I? So Geekbench scores. The A15 is about 10% faster in single-core performance and 18% faster in multi-core performance than the A12, A14, or than the iPhone 12, A14 Bionic. GPU performance is about 15% better than the A14 in GPU, and that's for the iPhone 13. And the iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone 13 Pro, is 55% better in GPU performance. So
that's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
That's a
Yeah.
giant difference.
And that's so. How many more cores has it got? I mean, the GPU. It seems like the difference between the 15 and the 14 is the GPU, right? On the Pro, more cores.
Between the 12 and between the A14 and the A15.
Yeah, it was mostly the GPU on the more cores on the GPU. Isn't that the major difference?
I don't know if they have more cores or if they just perform better. I would have to go look that up. But they do perform much better in both single core and multi-core CPU and in GPU. So there's your A15 specs. They're pretty much the same, except the iPhone 13 Pro has 1 extra GPU core. Let's talk about storage and screens there, LK.
Yeah, so both comes with 128 gigabyte standard, which is pretty good. That's that's not a bad little chunk of storage right there. A lot better than the 64 and 32 of years past. And so 256 and 512 gigabytes are options. And the Pros also get a 1 terabyte option, a terabyte on a phone, which just seems absolutely bonkers to me. The screens, also all the phones have a Super Retina XDR OLED displays, whatever that means. All iPhone 13s have a 20% smaller notch. So the notch has been shrunk horizontally, but is a tiny little bit bigger vertically. The iPhone 13 max brightness is 800 nits, and the Pro Max brightness is 1,000 nits. Both can reach 1,200 nits in certain situations, like outside in bright sunshine. That'll actually be kind of welcome, boosting that is always good. Pro phones get get ProMotion screens with up to 120 hertz adaptive refresh rates, and also this is a long time coming, right? People have been anticipating this for a long time.
Yeah, we've been talking about this. It feels like for 6 or 7 years, so it's cool to see that's finally here. One thing I wanted to point out is the nits. Now I know the nits may not mean anything to a lot of people, but dude, 1,000 nits for the Pro in max brightness, that's everyday scenarios. That's not like the boost mode up to 1,200 nits, but 1,000 nits, that is super bright, and it's the same brightness as a camera monitor that I have that is meant to be used outdoors. So 1,000 nits is kind of like the threshold at which you can see a screen easily outside. So that's a big difference in brightness. The iPhone 12 Pro, I think, only got up to 800 nits of max brightness. So this is like more than a 20% increase. And now the iPhone 13 gets up to 800 nits, which is what the previous Pro got to. So a big bump in brightness, which means you'll be able to see your phone outdoors more easily. And if you're like a drone pilot, that could be really substantial for you because now you'll be able to see your footage much better. And you may crash your drone less. Probably not, but I mean, it's possible. You'll see what you're about to run into more clearly. Lewis, were you about to say something?
I thought you said this wasn't exciting. I mean, I'm already sold on the Pro. Come on.
Well, you're sold on the Pro before I even
everything
started.
faster.
Yeah. You know,
faster and a better screen. I mean, come on.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving on.
$200.
Let's keep going here because there's even more excitement here to be spoken of. So let's start with design here, Lewis. We already mentioned the notch part.
Yeah, the notch. We know all about the notch. 20% smaller notch on both. iPhone 13 band is aluminum, whereas the Pro is stainless steel. Both the 13 and the Pros have a IP68 rating, meaning they can be submersed in water up to 30 minutes in 18 feet of water. That is, 18 specifically 18 feet.
Yeah, which is an increase from last year. And that's a lot of water. I mean, you could basically go swimming with this thing in the ocean if you want to. As long as
you get the bends if you come up on that depth, don't you?
Yeah, you'll probably die, and your iPhone will be fine. It'll probably record the whole thing because it won't. Because now it can go that deep. So,
I mean, it's even better than before.
We'll see you going
800 nits of brightness as you go into the screen, into the light.
Yeah, exactly. So you can film your death in 4K. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
I mean, we're already getting these stories where people, fish an iPhone 12 out of a river after a day and a half, and it still works, right? So how much? I mean, sheesh.
Well, I like the fact that it's a little bit more waterproof because the more waterproof they make it, the less chance it's going to get damaged in regular water situations, like with a splash. Or
Sure.
Like I used to use like a shower speaker, but I actually did do that before, by the way.
Oh man,
who hasn't dropped it into the toilet? And I use my phone in the shower now, and I usually watch YouTube videos while I'm taking a shower.
Oh, really?
What kind of
dangerous
for some reason?
YouTube videos.
Not the kind that you like to watch, that's for sure. yeah. You like all that? You like that jujitsu? I just totally turned that around on you. Yeah, I like to watch ASMR videos in the shower, people whispering. Sometimes I'll watch Front Page Tech. Actually, that's oftentimes what I watch.
That's all you watch in the shower, really?
Yeah, like they'll be talking about tech, and I'll just be, scrubbing away,
Lathering.
yeah.
Jeez. Okay,
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
More on the designs.
Yep.
The 13s, you can get it with a glossy back finish, or it comes with a glossy back finish, and the Pros have the matte back. This is the same as last time, right?
Yeah.
As you already went over all the color differences, right? And once again, the Pros are like more, I don't know, staid and professional looking, and the other ones are more fun and exciting.
Hold on a second. Let's not glass over this, okay?
Glass over it.
Yeah. Let's not glass over it, okay? This I'm kind of tired of the colors for the iPhone 11 or the why do I keep saying iPhone 11? It's because that's the phone I have. That's the phone I have. I'm tired of the colors for the Pro models. Like silver, we got it. Space gray, okay. This has been around for 12 years.
It's not space gray anymore though now.
Gold, I know, but it's close. It's like, and so I feel like we need a little bit more variety on the Pro side, and that's one of the biggest disappointments I have for the Pro is, it's just there's just nothing exciting there. It's the same colors that we've.
Color that was ruined.
Oh man,
right.
That was that was a serious punch to the nards. That was like one of those like when you're fighting a guy and then he goes down into like the splits like Jean-Claude Van Damme and he just throws a punch right to the nards and you weren't even expecting it because you didn't know that anyone could do the splits like that. That's what it felt like. Because I was really excited about that bronze color. And here we go. This is just the same old stuff that we've always gotten, except now you get Mom's Minivan blue. And I don't really like that blue.
Because I was going to get that one, and now I don't know if I can. I might just have, weep every morning when I pick it up and look at it and go, oh, geez, it looks like a Honda.
It looks like a Honda Odyssey minivan. So that really tempered my enthusiasm just because I'm not excited about the colors and I just wanted something different. I know that sounds totally lame, but it is true. And
it's very shallow.
And the iPhone 13 colors are kind of exciting. There's like that new pink. There's that.
Yeah. Buster's been tweeting about that. He's going to get the mini in pink.
Oh yeah, he's been super excited about that. I don't love the blue here, but I really like this midnight finish. It's like a bluish gray. I think that looks really cool. And then I really like the Starlight. It's like a champagne gold So like a creamy off-white color. I think that's a really beautiful color. And then you at least you get something new, something fresh, something exciting. And then the Pro,
Yeah.
it's just like here's the same old crap.
I wonder why they don't do a red Pro.
Hmm.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I would love any color for the Pro. I mean, why did Pros have to be so buttoned up and the same all the time?
It's because they're professional.
Right? Is that why it's like oh,
Yeah,
professionals
I
don't
agree.
like colors. I just think it's
Kinda what
weird.
happened last year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the blue, which I've got, what is it called? Pacific Blue, I think. Last year's blue on the Pro was, cool, and it actually is gorgeous when you look at it outside. It really it kind of gets more vibrant outside in the light. But the other, the regular had a much more bold kind of royal blue, right? So I don't know. It is odd. I agree. I do both last year and this year. I like the colors better on the more
too.
inexpensive phones.
Me too. I just feel like it's time to move on. Like they should come up with a set of colors every year for the Pro and stop just giving us the same, especially when the updates are so modest as they are this year. So the difference between the 12 Pro and the 13 Pro, I think are pretty minor. And if it were me, I probably would not be upgrading. Now, I have an 11 Pro, and I don't even feel like the upgrades to the 13 Pro are that much more significant over my 11 Pro. So if you had a 12 Pro, it's really going to be minor in my opinion. Although a lot of people will upgrade no matter what. I think that's cool, but I would not be as enthusiastic about going from the 12 Pro to the 13 Pro. Okay, let's see here. Where were we? Battery
The
life?
all important battery life.
Battery. I was going to say this is probably one of the marquee reasons why people will upgrade. This alone.
Yeah. And there's some magic in here. Lewis, go ahead. I might pipe in here in a second.
Yeah,
Shockingly.
iPhone 13 battery estimates, video playback up to 19 hours. iPhone 13 Pro battery estimates, video playback up to 22 hours. I believe on the both models, Pro and regular, whatever.
Yeah.
It was 1.5 hours longer battery life for the smaller version and 2.5 hours longer for the larger versions this year versus last year.
I think
for most users.
I think you're
whatever that
right.
means.
And the part that I thought was really surprising is the video playback is drastically increased. I think it's almost double what it was on the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro. So, or on the 12 Pro, I should say. So I think maybe the variable refresh rate has something to do with that because now they can slow the screen down, speed it up, which can, impact the battery life. So if you're someone that streams a lot of video or watches a lot of YouTube video on your phone like I do, then this is actually a really powerful feature for you because you get to use your phone for a lot longer without completely draining your battery. In fact, I think the YouTube app is the app I use the most. I'm constantly streaming videos, and they just added the ability to do picture-in-picture from the YouTube app. You have to go into your settings to turn that on, and you have to be a YouTube Premium subscriber to even use it. But it's really cool because so now when you swipe up when you're looking at the YouTube app, the video just pops out, and then you can float it around on your phone or swipe it over and just listen to the audio. It's really cool. So now you'll be able to do that and get drastically improved battery life. So,
and once again, you've made the case for the Pro over the regular.
I'm not saying that there aren't some cool features in here. I think that the features that they've added are all useful. I just don't think as a whole they are overwhelming in any way.
It's the same debate we have every single year, don't we?
I feel
Every
like
single year.
I feel like this year
Everyone
is more,
complains that this one's it's incremental, but it's not revolutionary. Every single year we have exactly the same debate.
I feel
I
like
understand
this
what
year
you're
though
saying.
it's
You think
particularly evolutionary. I mean, in years past, I don't feel like it's been this much of a minor update.
It's like an S upgrade, isn't it? Really, it's like this
Yeah.
is more like an S upgrade than a new generation. Like what do you call it? Like a what's
Like
it
a-
called? Point upgrade or whatever.
Oh, man, I don't know. I get what you're saying.
So, I bet you with the increased, I mean, it has a faster chip than last year, but the Pro has that extra GPU core, right? And ProMotion, I bet you're going to be able to actually feel a difference between these two phones. Like it's going to be noticeable. This one, the Pro, is going to be faster, more responsive, and just the other one's just going to feel sluggish. I bet you. I haven't seen any of them obviously, but I bet if you had one in one hand and one in the other, well, of course you wouldn't have a hand to tap the screen, but I mean,
Now I'm just
most
confused.
people
Yeah.
wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe there are people with 3, 4 arms, but I've got two. I suppose I could set them on the table and go like this. I bet it'll be noticeable. I'm just saying. I bet you it'll be noticeable because I remember when the iPad Pro first added that ProMotion. It was like, whoa, difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, I think that the adaptive refresh and the ProMotion screen will be really cool. I have ProMotion on my iPad Pro and I don't really feel like it's that noticeable, to be honest with you. Although I don't know if that ProMotion screen is adaptive. Like this one can take the refresh rate down to 10 hertz and then boost it all the way up to 120, excuse me. And so it can refresh on the fly. So some content is fast and some content is slow. So it might be a little bit more advanced, but I don't really notice it on my iPad. And I think it might be a cool feature. I just kind of wonder how many people will actually notice it in everyday use. It will be one of those things that kind of fades to the background pretty fast. I would imagine.
It'll also be one of those things that you don't notice, right? I mean, you don't notice that everything works a little better because you don't have the crappier one, right? And by crappy, I mean, I'm sure by no means are any of these phones going to be crappy, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
I bet you it's going to be more of a noticeable difference than you would think.
So let me just take a moment to recap where we're at. So iPhone 13, same performance except for GPU, not as good in GPU performance. So you get an extra core of an extra GPU core for the Pro. We'll talk about this here in a second, but the 5G is exactly the same. The Pro gets better battery life, 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, depending on if you get the Pro or the Pro Max. They both have the same reduction in notch size, and they have slightly different designs. You know, one's glossy, one's matte. The Pro having matte back, and the regular iPhone having the glossy back. And then the Pros are brighter, so 1,000 nits versus the iPhone 13's 800 nits. So that's where we're at right now, okay? And let's see here, where we're going next. 5G. You kind of already mentioned this, Lewis.
I don't even know if the 5G bit even. I mean, same 5G connectivity, and I mean, really, it's kind of the same. I don't even know how much difference 5G makes. I mean, I'm still every time I use it, it's still slower than LTE in my neighborhood, but
which is crazy.
I did look at the map, and Verizon has built out the places where they have that faster stuff a lot in San Francisco, over the past year, I guess. But I don't get out of the house much, so.
And on Wi-Fi, it's always faster, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Apparently, the whole like if you go and look at Apple's website, I mean, they have all the different bands of 5G that and it varies by country, and I mean it's basically it's so complicated. Like there's not even really any point in discussing it, near as I can tell.
All right.
I mean, really, it's like, well, this country has the N62 and this one has the N63, and it's, check what your carrier has. So basically, when you're ready to buy a phone, go click and check with your carrier, or the carrier you might want to switch to, and see what they have and see where the coverage is, and maybe it's worth it or maybe it's not. But
so the 5G,
there's no choice to be made, right? It's the same on all
the 5G, I think is exactly the same as it was on the 12. So no developments there. Now let's talk about cameras. Now this is going to be an interesting part of the discussion, because normally the Pro and the regular iPhone have a lot of differences. Now they really don't have very many differences at all. And this, I think, is one of the reasons why I think it might be a smart move just to get the iPhone 13. And this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, the phones are so similar now that...
Wait till you talk yourself out of it.
Okay, so here we go. iPhone 13 gets a let me pull something up here for you guys to look at. Where are we? iPhone 13 here gets the dual 12 megapixel camera, the wide and the ultra wide cameras. The wide aperture is now 1.6, goes down to 1.6, so it lets in more light. The ultra wide goes to down to 2.4, and it has a 2.x optical zoom. Now, the 13 Pro has a slightly larger aperture on the wide camera, 1.5 versus the iPhone 13's 1.6. So it's minuscule. You're barely going to notice it. The ultra wide aperture actually is quite a bit larger. On the 13 Pro, it's 1.8 versus the iPhone 13's 2.4. Now that is actually quite a bit larger. It's over a full stop. If you don't know anything about cameras, a stop is a doubling of the light that enters the lens. So it's more than a doubling of the light that can enter the lens on the iPhone 13 Pro, which means you're going to have wide angle photos with less noise because more light can hit the sensor, and you'll have less opportunities for things to be blurred because the shutter speed won't have to be as slow. So if you increase the light by double on the aperture, that means you can decrease the light on the shutter by the same amount. So you can make the shutter faster, which means less blurry photos. Okay, so that is a significant difference. Of course, you also get the 3x optical zoom on the new telephoto lens for the iPhone 13 Pro, which now has 3x optical zoom instead of 2. And it also has LiDAR, which no one cares about, but it is there.
But which apparently makes all the pictures better.
Yeah, I've heard that it helps with focus. I've heard that it helps with autofocus. So I have yet to experience that myself, but I have heard that. Yes, I heard Leander's about to speak.
And what about the macro? So is it macro on the Pro only, or is it on both?
Macro is on the Pro only. On the, I think, the ultra wide angle camera. I think.
But the 13 it does have an ultra wide.
The 13 also has ultra wide. Yes, I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm actually not sure. I think that it is only on the Pro that gets the ultra wide. Chat, keep me honest here. If someone's hearing this and knows the answer to that question, I'm pretty sure it's the Pro only. But here's the things that they both have in common. Okay, so essentially, from a camera perspective, you get an extra lens on the Pro, the telephoto, and a little bit better aperture performance on the wide and ultra wide cameras, and that's essentially it. Because they brought the sensor shift technology from the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the iPhone 13 across the entire lineup. So now they all get sensor shift. So and that's only for the wide. That's only for the wide angle, by the way, not for the other cameras. And you get telephoto. Yeah, I mentioned that. You get telephoto as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's worth $200 right there.
Sold. Is it? Now,
Yeah.
I will mention they in order to increase the optical performance to 3x on this telephoto lens, they increased the aperture to 2.8. It used to be 2.0, which means you lose a full stop of light. So now your telephoto lens is going to be probably grainier and going to look worse in dark situations because you are going to be allowing less light into the actual lens. So they basically reversed what they did on the wide angle camera for the ultra wide angle camera to the telephoto. So just something
I
that
wonder
you might
how
want to know.
important that is, considering how such great, computational nighttime photography they do. I would think that probably the 3x. I guess the Pro Max now has 2.5x. Pro Max or Pro has 2, so this is bigger on both, right? 3x. I think that's going to be worthwhile, and I think the macro on the ultra wide is going to be worthwhile. You keep saying that there's less difference. It seems to me like there's more difference this year than last.
Well, not as far as I can tell, but maybe you're right. I don't know. I'm just telling you how I feel. It just feels like the fact that they added sensor shift to the iPhone 13, the fact that they're giving it what they should have done if they wanted to delineate these two is reserve the cinematic video mode only for iPhone 13 Pro. I'm surprised they didn't do that. And I think the reason they didn't do that is because they were so low on features for the iPhone 13 that they're like, we got to put something in here. Like, what are we going to do? Put in an A15 and call it good? Like, we got to do something. So TC made the call. He's like, make it happen, y'all. And they added the cinematic video mode to the iPhone 13 as well, which is a software feature. The only reason that you wouldn't be getting it is because they want to reserve it for their higher end phone. And so, and actually, here's a conspiracy theory. So the iPhone 12 Pro, or 13 Pro, has one extra GPU core. I bet you that GPU core exists on the A15 for the iPhone 13, and I bet you they disabled it. And I know that might sound like very conspiratorial, but let me tell you, in the GPU market, this happens all the time because the manufacturers, they don't want to produce different chips for different products. They want to make one chip, and they will actually deactivate cores for GPU cards that are less expensive. So they'll enable all of them for the really expensive cards, and they'll deactivate some for the less expensive cards. And they're there, you just can't use them. I bet you that's what Apple did. They're like, we gotta make these different in some way. Let's deactivate one of the cores because this isn't the Pro model. I would bet you a Subway foot long, Lewis. Any meat you want that's true. Okay, let's talk about what they have in common, which I think is more than what they, which I think is more than their differences. Right. So both the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro support up to 4K video at 24 frames per second. They do 25, 50, 60 frames per second as well, and HDR with Dolby Vision at up to 4K 60. Both the 13 and the 13 Pro feature cinematic modes for recording videos with shallow depth of fields at 1080, 30 frames per second. Here's the difference though. But the 13 Pro does get ProRes video support. If you have the 128 gig version, you can only do ProRes at 1080p. And if you have one of the larger storage options, you can do 4K ProRes. I think that's actually a really cool feature. I kind of want to see how fast you can transfer ProRes off of the 13 Pro to your computer because those files are really huge. And if you're going to be sitting around for 20 minutes trying to transfer a ProRes file, it's actually not going to be that useful at all. But it is cool regardless that you do get ProRes. So, but they both have, I'm sorry, I moved to video, didn't I? I got ahead of myself.
Skipped right over the other stuff.
So what they have in common is sensor shift in the wide angle lens. They both get night mode. They both have deep fusion. They both have smart HDR. They both have the photographic styles that Apple talked about where you can like tweak what the photo looks like and have that carry over to every photo you take. And they both get cinematic movie mode. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. So they have all of like the best technology that they mentioned on stage. All that stuff is common for both phones. So really you're just talking about some aperture differences and ProRes in the Pro and not in the 13. That's pretty similar, Lewis, if you ask me.
Telephoto, macros.
Yeah, you get telephoto and macro on the Pro.
I mean, I don't know. It's a big difference.
I guess it depends on what's important to you. For me, I'm like the telephoto, I'm on the fence. I'm not sure how important that is to me. Of course, I would like to have it. I'm probably going to get the Pro. I'm probably going to get the Pro because I'm a Pro type of guy. And even though I hate the colors, I do feel like...
You can even just buy a can of spray paint and spray paint the back.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, I think it's exactly... That for me is the same question. I think it comes down to the cameras, the difference between the Pro and the regular one. And I think it's probably worth stumping the extra for the cameras, for the better cameras, the better camera module.
Well, that's how Lewis feels too. And I'm not going to argue with you. I think that you'll be happy with whichever phone you go with. I just wish there was something a little extra special about the Pro because it feels like there's not really. And then I was hoping for that beautiful Buster Heine bronze. Not there. Instead, we got Mom's minivan blue, and I'm like, I really don't want the blue one. So, and I don't want silver, and I don't want gold. So, what am I going to do? Get the exact same? I'm going to get a phone that looks exactly like mine in every single way. That just kind of feels lame. I'm spending all this money. I want to have something new and special, you know?
Trade that
Papa
in.
E wants a new dress. What?
Trade that in on the CultCast buyback program, and you get a nice big chunk of cash.
There you go. Okay.
To get a new one. One of the interesting things is that both Lewis and I, we both got the Pro Max last year, the big one.
Yeah.
And I ditched mine pretty early for the Mini, which I really love the Mini form factor. But Lewis is downgrading too, right, Lewis? You're not going to get a big phone again?
That's correct. I'm going to the Pro, and that's one thing I'm also extra happy with this year. The Pro and the Pro Max are the same, right? You don't get something less. Although,
right.
Honestly, it's not like, as I've said before, I mean, they always show off all these amazing, filmmaking tools, and it's like, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could do a video and I never do any of that crap. So it was really pointless for me to get the large one. And after a year with it and a year of my hand being cramped because it's so gigantic and I'm trying to the phone, not my hand. Uh, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back to the 13 Pro size, just the regular Pro. Every time I pick up the wife's, I've said this a million times. Every time I do, it's like, oh, that's the right size for a phone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even that one seems big to me because I've been fondling them recently to see whether I like that size, and they still seem too big. They still seem too big. I really like the mini size. It's such a great size. I really wish the mini had a better camera, and I would go with that for the 13.
Well, it's gonna have, their best camera.
I mean, I wish I had the pro level camera.
Okay, you mean like with the telephoto lens and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you guys know what Alex E. Heath calls the iPhone Mini?
No.
No.
The iPhone Max. Because he has like tiny little hands. Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyway, so there you have it. I know that that's a lot of information, but I hope that that's clear. There doesn't really seem to be any big differences between the two phones, and to me, for the extra colors that you get for the 13, it seems like you could save yourself a couple $100 and go that way, and you get their best performing phone. You miss out on the extra GPU core. You don't get variable refresh rate, but the camera technology is pretty much exactly the same. You just don't get the telephone.
How can
lens.
you keep saying that?
Because it is. I mean, by and large, it's exactly the same. Sensor shift, night mode, deep fusion, smart HDR4, photographic styles, cinematic movie mode.
Telephoto.
You get everything. I know you get everything, but
you get everything except for the two most important things.
No, those I would argue those are not that important. Like, how many people are taking macro pictures with their phone? I would say virtually no one.
Well, they're not because they can't do it, but they will because they can.
No, they won't.
And I've been dying to get a macro. I bought some stupid macro lenses, stick-on ones, the little fiddly ones you always lose, and never work right. So I'm totally excited about macro mode.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it just for that. When they announced it, we were saying, all right, there you go, sold. That's it. I'm going to get just for that, just macro. That's it. I'm done.
Well, I know you've been looking for a way to take pictures of some really small things, so this might work for you really well. but for me, I need the ultra wide. You know what I'm saying? So and we already had that. So yeah, I guess it depends what's important to you. Again, telephoto I think is cool, and I have kids. I use telephoto when I'm taking pictures and movies of them. I think that's cool, but I would imagine for a lot of people they don't necessarily use the telephoto lens, and then they are. I would say virtually no one is going to use the macro mode.
That's it. Yeah, well, the telephoto. I mean, when you do zoom right in, it's so grainy and pixelated that it's completely worthless as a picture anyway, isn't it? So,
yeah.
But I'm supposed to use telephoto for like things like portraits, people shots. Stand a bit further back and then zoom into them. Doesn't that make for better portraits? Isn't that how you're supposed to use it?
Yeah, definitely. If you're taking portraits, then being able to zoom in makes the background blurrier, and then you don't have the camera right in their face, which some people.
And you don't get as much distortion, right, from the lens itself.
Well, it's a different kind of distortion. I mean, wide angle lenses make things. It makes the background seem like it's really far away from your subject, and it can like make their face look kind of weird. But then a telephoto lens does the exact opposite. It brings the background in really close to your subject, and it can make people's faces look really flat. So, you get distortion either way.
Both, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I have one question for you. What do you think about the photographic styles? What do you think of that?
So I need to learn some more about those, but I thought they were cool. So like the photographic styles, from my understanding, allow you to tweak how the phone processes an image. So if you think it's too cool, you can turn up the warmth, and then every image that it creates from that point forward will be the way that you want it to look. I actually think that's pretty cool. And actually I might end up using that because it's like an edit before the process, right? So,
well, that's what I was going to say.
You're affecting the processing and not trying to edit after the fact, which is always the way you want it to work because they're not taking a raw image, I guess. So yeah, I think that might be something that I would actually use. We're going super long here. We gotta wrap this up because you gotta go, Leander. We might have to do the last half of the show without you, but let's talk about one of the things that you were really excited about. iPhone 13 cinematic mode, which does look super cool, and I join you in your enthusiasm on this feature.
Yeah, like of all the things that Apple revealed on Tuesday, to me the most impressive was the iPhone 13's new cinematic mode. So this depth of field effect creates amazing focus transitions between subjects. And I'm looking at this. I'm going, wow. Apple built an AI cinematographer into the iPhone 13. And Apple has some detail on their website about the computational power that it takes to run this with the machine learning algorithms, be able to render the autofocus changes, support manual focus changes, and do it all in Dolby Vision, all in real time. I mean, this is where that neural engine, with its, how many was it, like 7 trillion operations a second, which is an enormous number, comes in. It this whole thing about being able to recognize the camera now can tell what it's looking at. It's not just a dumb piece of glass and metal. It can actually it'll recognize people, faces, dogs, animals, objects, and to be able to do this, to act like a human being, I think is a really incredible advance in AI, and especially to be able to do this in such a complex task in real time. I mean, it's a huge leap forward. And you see a little bit of this as well with some of the other features that Apple's been added recently, like visual lookup, which doesn't work in real time, but you go to your photos collection, and if there's an animal or a plant in there, it'll identify the plant. It'll identify the type of plant it is, which is kind of really miraculous. But be able to bring this kind of analysis to real time video, I thought was like a huge step up.
Yeah, so this is a super impressive feature. I agree, and as someone who has spent a lot of money on cameras, I have a Canon C70 behind me right there, and it does this, but it doesn't do this as intelligently as the iPhone does. So this is a feature that you really kind of have to pay big money to get. If you want a camera to do this well, you might be spending $6,000 to $8,000 for a camera to not even do it as well as the iPhone does. And the thing that's really impressive is the depth of field that it's creating is artificial, right? Because when you have a really small lens, small lenses don't do depth of field very well. Well, they don't do shallow depth of field very well, I should say. And you can see from this image I'm showing depth of field being how the background is kind of blurry. That's shallow depth of field, right? And you're focused in on the dog. And so when it's zooming in and out, it's not really zooming in and out, I don't think. Maybe a little bit, but it's clearly adding some kind of artificial blur to the background, because an iPhone camera lens would not be able to get you a result like this without some kind of computational manipulation happening. So I thought this was really pretty cool and adds a whole new look and feel to your iPhone footage. And the fact that it can jump around from face to face, I'm like, wow, that's really powerful, and will help you create a look of a camera that is much larger and much more expensive than your iPhone. Now, when I was watching the video, it wasn't perfect. Like, you can always kind of tell what's going on if instead of looking at the foreground, look at the background, and you can see the zoom back and forth. And I saw some like hesitations and some jumps, and I thought I saw a little bit of like focus breathing, which is when the camera is locked on to a subject, but then you could still see like the background moving a little bit because the focus isn't entirely locked. So I'll be interested to see how well this actually works. But as long as it works like decently well and isn't completely missing focus all the time, I think that will actually be pretty useful. And I was really surprised that they brought this to the iPhone 13 and this was not just a Pro feature, because this is one of those things that Apple classically would have done, is make this a feature only for the Pro, right? And
seems like this should have been a Pro only feature, right? Don't you think?
That's literally what I just said.
Exactly what he just said.
That's like literally verbatim what I just. It's like you just changed the word order and then you said it like it was your own idea.
That's how I work. Yeah, that's my whole career been like that, basically.
He's gonna go write up a story right now, and he's gonna be on the byline. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Lander. What a great idea that is. Yeah. I'm surprised that this was brought to the iPhone 13, which again leads me to believe that they were just so desperate for features for the iPhone 13. They're like, we got to put something in here. Like, normally we would save this for the Pro, but we got to do something. So let's just put this in here to get people to buy it. So super, super powerful feature. And I'll be looking forward to trying this out.
People are excited about it? They spent a lot of time on the keynote talking about it. Do you think, I mean, it does look super cool. And the little movie they made, the Whodunit movie, was fun and entertaining. And,
yeah, it was cool.
And you can kind of see some of the shots. You can imagine people doing it, but I wonder whether it'll become like someone was comparing it to the star transitions in the early videos. When it became so overused that it just it became unpopular really quickly because
Right.
it got so overused.
What feature was that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like transitions in the early days of it,
Oh.
between videos and stuff like that, like wipes and smooths and stuff like that. So people would make, videos and there would be all these like transition effects.
Got it. Yeah.
And they became, so they were so enamored with all these transitions that it was just like transition. It made the things unwatchable. So, I wonder whether they'll get that with iPhone 13 movies where it's like focus effect. It's like, all right, come on, give me a break. It's so overused. You got to give it a rest.
I don't think so. I mean, the effect is kind of subtle. You don't really totally notice it when it's happening. I think it adds a lot of depth and interest to your videos, but it doesn't. It's not in your face, and it's not as gaudy as like a zoop, like a wipe from like left to right, like they put in all the Star Wars movies, like the remakes or the prequels, I should say.
It remains to be seen, though. I mean, so you're gonna have a video of your kid about ready to blow out the candles on it, and grandma stumbles by in the background, and it focuses on her, and you'd be like, oh, what? Come on! I mean, that presentation once again was very slick, and it made that look like an awesome feature, but it'll be interesting to see just exactly how well it works in real life, and
yeah, for sure,
and whether it actually becomes, like you're saying, completely overused and everybody's just like, oh geez, not again. I mean, sometimes in movies you see it and you're like, oh, they're just doing it just because they can, because it's a part of the the cinematic sort of lexicon, right? Like, oh well, yeah. Sometimes it's done really well and it's amazing and like really adds to the scene. Other times you're just like, you're just doing it because you can, and some guys over there, the focus pullers, making X amount of dollars to be sitting there, so he's just doing it. Let's do it.
Well, the other cool thing about this that we should at least mention is it stores the focus information in the actual metadata of the video. So if you want, you can go back through and change the focus points after the fact. So if it screws up, you can go in there and change it. Now that would be a lot of work, but you could do it if you wanted to. Because it's gonna screw it up. It's gonna think that you're trying to focus on the person behind. Like if you turn your head, it's gonna be like, oh, you're not paying attention anymore. It might focus behind you. That's not necessarily something you want it to do. I mean, on my Canon C70, if you turn your head, it will actually stay locked on your head. It doesn't automatically go to focus on the background because.
Well, that's because it doesn't have cinematic mode.
Well, I don't want it to have cinematic mode because
I gotta run.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's anyway. Right. All right. Cheers to LK.
Yeah, nice hanging with you guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys next week.
To summarize, it was astonishing, right? Astonishing.
All right.
Astonishing.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck getting a phone.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Catch you later.
All right. Get your orders in.
All right. We're going super long here. By the way, are you getting up at 5 a.m. to do the order here, Lewis? I saw some people that were excited about that. I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. It was way better when it was at midnight. I'd rather stay up till midnight and get my order in than wake up at freaking 5 in the morning. Well, yeah, and not only that, but they let you. So now for this pre-order, they let you get everything set up ahead of time. They just don't let you place the order. So why not just let you pre-order now? Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? It is kind of weird. Oh, yeah.
Really irritated me about that whole event. It's like, God.
Thank you to the chat for letting me know the audio is gone. I just fixed it. Because when you were gone, Lewis, I had to mess around with the audio so we could get the audio working with Leander and just me. And so I blame you for this issue. This issue is your fault.
I'm sure it's definitely my fault.
Okay, good. Good. It looks like you're back. Yeah, thank you to the chat for giving me a heads up on that. All right. So before we move on, let me just take a moment to plug a couple quick things. First and foremost, I gotta plug CultCloth. If you still don't have your CultCloth, now's the time to get some. You can keep your device looking sparkly new. That's how I do it. My iPhone 11 Pro, it looks brand friggin' new, because the CultCloth is it's each thread. Let me back up. The CultCloth is special. each thread is broken down in a special process that drastically increases the surface area of every microfiber thread. And surface area is how a cleaning cloth that's made of microfiber works, because it's not a natural fiber. It doesn't have natural cracks in it. And so you need as much surface area as possible. And so when these threads are crushed, they go through this process to crush them down, and then they're sewn into these really wonderful cloths. And it's crazy. Like when you rub your hands or your fingertips over one of these, you can actually feel them gripping onto your fingertips. And that's what they do on your device. And when you wipe them across your brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max, because you're going all in, your iPhone 13, your MacBook, your iPad, your TV, your glasses, your sunglasses, your photography lenses, they pick up everything. I mean, like nothing is left behind but sparkling glass, metal, plastics. And if you just give a little the Caney breath, maybe actually Caney's is with his nose. He goes right, like most people like blow with their mouth to get something foggy. He does it with his nose, and then you just wipe it up. It will be clean as the day that you bought it. You'll really be impressed. And so if you don't have some of these yet, now is a great time to pick some up. We have the all-new CultCloth Duo, which has a dual fiber design. It has a short fiber on one side, which is great for like cleaning your phone, and then a long fiber on the other side, which is great for like reaching down between the cracks of your between your phone and your case and your keyboard. So like when you wipe it across your keyboard, it reaches down past the keys and cleans the deck of your keyboard, which virtually never gets cleaned. And we also have our carry cloths, which are perfect for carrying around with you, cleaning your glasses on the fly, your sunglasses, your lenses, your phone. They're just much easier to carry around. So you'll have a full arsenal of cleaning cloths. And these are the best that you can get. They really are. I have never found anything that works better than these or higher quality than these, which is why I sell them, because they really are fantastic, and I use them on everything. So if you are interested in picking up some for yourself, head on over to cultcloth.co, cultcloth.co. We ship worldwide. And if you use code CultCast at checkout, you'll get a free 8x8 carry cloth with any order at cultcloth.co. Did you also want to plug the giveaway real fast, Lewis?
Yeah, we should mention it.
We should mention
this week's giveaway on cultamac.com. Just go to the homepage. You can sign up for a chance to win a year of unlimited cloud backup from Backblaze. We're giving this away to, well, we and Backblaze together are giving
Hold on a
away
sec, Lewis.
the,
Hold on a sec, Lewis. Hold on a sec, Lewis. I'm hearing that we don't have audio on Lewis. Is that true?
No.
Oh, wait a second. My bad. Go ahead.
The giveaway is going to be a lot more exciting if you can hear about it.
I just fixed it. Go ahead.
So none of that, huh?
Yeah, start again. Sorry
Best
about
work.
that.
Really, that was my best work.
That was the not just the best. That was just not just the best read you've done. That's the best read I've ever heard. And now it's gone.
Unbelievable.
It's gone forever.
Just
Yeah,
lost
apologies.
to eternity. So go to cultamac.com, scroll down, look at the giveaway. This week we're giving away 1 year of unlimited cloud backup from Backblaze. We're giving away to 5 lucky winners. What can I say? Usually we're giving away actual I
don't know, but say
products,
something,
right?
Lewis.
Usually we're giving away
Say something,
products.
dude. People are
This
listening.
time we're giving away a service. I think this is the first time we've ever given away a service.
Yeah.
You
And Backblaze
know,
is
and
a great service. I've been using them forever.
oh, you do use it?
Yeah, for my Mac.
I don't have anything I need to save. I just have, a bunch of edits of Cult of Mac
I got all
stories,
sorts
and
of
it's
stuff,
like,
man.
just delete it.
Yeah. And I like to have a backup that's off-site. You got to have something that's off-site so that if your house burns down, you don't lose your MacBook Pro and your backups, right? So you want to have something that is separate from where you live.
Yeah, and Backblaze, Backblaze is one of the most trusted providers of online backups. It's run by ex-Apple employees, been around for 14 years, reliable, easy to use, highly rated. This is your chance. Just go there. You sign up for the Cult of Mac Today newsletter. Visit our Twitter page or something. I mean, there's multiple
I'm looking
ways
for
you
it right
can
now.
enter.
There it is.
Huh? Are you
Win
signing
1 year
up?
of unlimited
I don't
cloud
know if you're allowed, but
backup. No, I'm not gonna sign up, but I'm showing other people how to do it. I'll post this in the chat and in the show notes, and that way people can enter to win if they want to do so. And the other thing I wanted to point out just real fast is like, holy moly, I was scrolling past this and I saw a story: how to use earpods with your Nintendo Switch. So that's a thing now. That's great.
There you go.
I had no idea.
There's so
that's
much
something that I've
information on the Cult of Mac homepage. It's just
always
shocking.
wanted to do. That's really cool. I'll have to go and peruse this article afterwards. So yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the Backblaze thing. I mean, these giveaways typically end on Sunday nights, so you got a day or so to go and enter. Also, I believe a little birdie told me that next week we're going to have an iPhone 13 giveaway. So, whoa, baby!
Really?
I hope the servers are ready for that.
And I think the thing that's surprising to me about that is you can speak to birds. How did you learn to do that? That's incredible.
I took lessons from Gruber.
Oh yeah, does he speak to birds? No, he speaks to
always
nerds.
saying that.
I think he said nerds. I speak to nerds. He must have.
A little birdie told me.
Oh god, what is he? Littlefinger from? My birds are
Game of
everywhere.
Thrones. Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. So let's keep moving on here because we're not even gonna finish all this stuff. There's way too much stuff.
Oh my
in here.
God.
Look at all this. Look at all this
This
stuff.
is crazy.
Oh my gosh, we went on way too long.
Oh
with
boy.
with the iPhone 13, but there was a lot to say, and we got
we
that.
said it all and
we
then
said
some.
we literally said everything that you could possibly say. All right, let's talk about Apple Watch Series 7. Is John still in the chat? Or can we say what we really think? I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Yeah, so that was a shocker. I was like all ready for the Apple Watch. That was probably the thing I was most excited about. And then when it came up, I was like, what? I could not believe what we were seeing. Not only was it not squared, that new design, but it was even rounder than before. It got the bigger screen, and that was essentially it. Sorry, I'm walking all over your story here. Oh no, you're going to talk about the late substitution. So you got essentially the exact same performance. It has an S7, but it is by all measures an S6. They just rebranded it. It has the same U1 chip. It has a slightly larger screen. The case is a little bit rounder. I think the battery life is the same. And I don't know if devastated is the wrong word, but I was like, no bronze iPhone 13 Pro. This was the other thing that I was really excited about. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing for me here. There's just nothing for this event.
Wow.
I should just close it down and just wait for next year. Or I guess the next event. That's going to be we'll talk about that too if we have time. Like the next event's going to be the one that we've all been waiting for if you want some excitement. But the iPhone or the Apple Watch Series 7 was a huge letdown for me. And the shocking part was like, wow, like all those renders from Front Page Tech, you had Gurman saying that we were going to get a new design. Although part of me, this is conspiratorial. Part of me thinks that Gurman actually did not confirm the story. Now, look, I have absolutely no idea if this is true. This is just me thinking out loud here. I wonder if Gurman was like, okay, we had Quo say we're getting a major redesign like a year ago, and then you had Front Page Tech come out and they had like the actual they got pictures of the actual unit itself, and then they made all of those designs based on that they were showing everyone. Part of me thinks if the evidence was just so overwhelming that Mark Gurman said, yeah, we're going to get a new design, but he never actually confirmed it. What do you think about that? So, but you had Front Page Tech and Quo and Gurman all saying a new design, and then it came out and it wasn't a new design. It kind of seems to me like Apple had to ditch it last minute. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting theory, and that's what Killian wrote up for us, Killian Bell.
Yeah.
His story says Apple Watch Series 7 looks like a late substitution for the upgrade Apple really wanted to deliver.
I mean, that seems spot on to me.
Yeah, so it's definitely not what we were expecting. Everybody, and like you're saying, those three guys. I mean, those are like the three. I would say the trio of people, most likely to get these rumors right. And they all said, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be this radical redesign. And yeah, I was a little bit stunned too when I saw the thing. I was like, oh, really? I almost actually thought that they were going to say, just kidding. Here it is. Like they get so jokey and entertaining, right? Like it wouldn't have surprised me if they'd have just said, done like a needle scratch. Oh no, it's actually here. It looks
Fooled you,
totally
y'all.
different. It's totally new.
I fooled you.
Yeah.
Here's the real one, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, well, think about that position. You're standing up there and you're trying to make this thing sound all amazing and brand new, and everybody's expecting something completely
And
radically
everyone's
different.
totally
And you're just
puzzled.
going,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's got you got to have a pretty good game face to stand up there and go, no, this is really great.
Well, TC definitely has that. I will say I do
And
like
Jeff
the
Williams.
larger screen. Like the larger screen is more dramatic than I thought it was going to be. Like it really does seem like it's almost edge to edge now.
Well, yeah, and one of the things I was thinking, same as when the 4 came out, right? I remember when Series 4 came out, and I was just kind of like on the fence. I mean, it's slightly faster or whatever. I'm pretty happy with the Series 3. I got to the store, I saw the Series 4. I'm like, give me one of those right now. And I wonder if it's going to be the exact same thing, where it's like, oh, this seems like not that big of an upgrade, but actually, when you see the display, you're gonna like, yeah, that's pretty substantial. I mean, it's always hard to tell from the pictures, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell. And like one of the things they have, I saw somebody on Twitter calling them out because they had a picture of like I don't know if it's an email or a text message or something. And it's like, oh, it can hold up to 30% more text or something. And I feel like, yeah, look at the kerning. Look how much different the kerning is on the or leading. Sorry, not kerning, leading.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's true. I mean, but so I don't know where they come up with all these things. Like, is it all about like pixel density? I haven't gone in and looked and seen if it's denser pixels or if it's just a bigger screen or what. But they're talking about having redesigned the buttons in apps for this watch, which just seems kind of crazy too. Like to make the buttons bigger, to make everything easier to use. Now it's got this a keyboard on the watch, right? So I mean, it'll be interesting to see just how much better it is. I mean, if I had to say something that was disappointing, I mean, yeah, I would say that the lack of the complete redesign was the most shocking thing at this event.
That was one of the most shocking moments I've had at an Apple event. It was like watching a football game, and then you see someone trying to like throw some easy pass to get a touchdown, like to win the game in like the last 3 seconds, and then the guy drops it. I was like, oh, like that's how I feel like that was the collective reaction. Everyone was so surprised by it. So I should just say shout out to Renders by Ian, who's in the chat, who made these beautiful front page tech renders that we're looking. Do we have the entire
images of the watch we want?
Yeah. the watch we really wanted. So if nothing else, Ian, I will say that you made the watch we all wanted, and these things look beautiful.
Yeah. So I guess I should read a little more from Killian's piece, right? So obviously it doesn't even pack a new chip.
Yeah.
Design is pretty similar. Is this the upgrade Apple wanted to deliver this year, or is it a last minute substitution that Cupertino had to settle on because the refresh it really wanted to deliver just wasn't ready to roll out? Based on the evidence, we're going to say it's the latter. We've already discussed all these other things here and the things, but so it does look like a nice improvement. Larger display, more pronounced curves around its edges, which wrap around and meet the aluminum case. Charges 33% faster. That actually, to me, believe it or not, that's actually exciting. But that's it. They're saying it's like
don't just glass over that, Lewis. Sometimes you gloss, sometimes you glass. This time you're glassing. That's a really cool feature. Being able to charge your Apple Watch that much faster, because the Apple Watch takes a long time to charge. One of the things I love about my Series 6 is that it charges faster. And especially like it's about to die right before you go to bed. So if you can charge it, they said like 8 minutes will get you up to 8 hours of battery life. Like that's a practical, useful feature
tracking.
For sleep tracking. What did I say?
They said. Well, no, it's just they made that distinction of like 8 minutes, 8 hours of sleep tracking.
Oh, sleep tracking, right? Well, that's a good point.
Works with all the bands. That was exciting. That was maybe the most exciting thing about the whole thing. It's like, oh, great, all these bands are still going to work.
You didn't totally screw us over, yeah.
Right.
I'll just say this one thing.
For that.
I do like the colors. They have they have the Starlight color. I dig it, man. I like that champagne gold. They've got the green. I will say one thing. I really hate this red ring they put on all these watches. I think it's a huge mistake to designate that it has an LTE radio or a cellular radio, I should say, because you have these watches and this red oftentimes clashes with the color of the actual Apple Watch. I don't know whose idea this was, but they need to rethink this. This is a really bad idea. They need to make this obvious in some other way, or come up with some kind of neutral color that isn't going to juxtapose the color of the actual Apple Watch itself. And so there's my my 2 cents of TC about that. So look, I do want to say Renders by Ian, the guy who made these beautiful renders, is in the chat. And if there's any extra information you want to give us, Ian, feel free. I'll be happy to read those things. He was saying that, let's see here. He said that, I'm trying to find your comments here, Ian. No, it's about Gurman. Oh, from the beginning, Gurman was saying a flat display, even if he did just assume the flat edge design. Yeah, well, look, do I really think Gurman did that? Probably not. But it wouldn't totally surprise me, because like if you guys outscooped him, and it was becoming obvious from multiple sources that this was going to happen, I think that he was probably under pressure to say that it was going to have a flat side or flat sides, even if he wasn't able to confirm that.
Under pressure from who?
Well, he works for Bloomberg, right? Like they're supposed to know these things.
Well,
and if
they
they're
also
coming
want
up
to be right, don't you suspect that they
that's my
require a handful of?
You're probably right. Maybe his source did confirm it, and that's probably what happened. But I was just trying to think, like, why would Front Page Tech and Gurman both be wrong about the same thing? I was like, how could that happen? And maybe Gurman never was able to confirm that. Because one of the things that Quo said was that we are going to get a design change, and I think he said at the earliest happening this year. So he never said when it was coming. He just said that it was coming, I believe. And whereas Front Page Tech said it was coming, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Ian. You're in the chat. So, like, no hate. I'm not mad at Front Page Tech. I'm not mad at John. I think it's a punch in the nads for us and for him, because it's a hit to his reputation. But one of the things that I appreciate about John Prosser is that he tells you what he's hearing. And I think what Gurman does is he's a little bit more guarded. So he won't tell you something until he's sure it's going to happen, which means that sometimes he'll know stuff that he won't say because he's not sure what Apple's plans are. And Apple could be working on something, but they may not be sure about a release date, or maybe they're not sure they're actually going to go with a specific design. And it sounds to me like Prosser will tell you what he's hearing, even if that means that you end up hearing something that Apple ends up not doing, which I appreciate because it makes our show more entertaining, and we get to know what the possibilities are, right? Which I appreciate. I wish it were right, because I wanted this watch, because I think the current design is really kind of boring, and I'm looking for something new, and I just think that this is a really fresh take on the Apple Watch aesthetic, and I would have loved to have seen this. But there you go. Yeah.
So what we didn't get to is, there's actually some evidence that maybe this was like a last-minute move Apple pulled for whatever reason. Whether it was, it wasn't even that long ago that we were hearing like, oh, the production's been put off because of major problems, right? Major production problems with the display. Was that this display, or was that the display that works with the flat one? Who knows? And there's things that back it up, right? Like they didn't talk about there being a new CPU because it's the same as last year's. Apparently the model code is the same as last year's. And another big giant clue is Apple still can't say when it's going to ship. It's like later this year or later this fall. That's what they're saying, right? Who knows if they're even making this thing yet? Is it in mass production or not? Or are they still like scrambling? All these things together make it kind of seem like, geez, maybe this really was like, oh, holy crap, we cannot make this new radical design work right now soon enough to get it out the door. Let's punt and just put a better screen on last year's model.
Yeah. I
No new
honestly,
sensors,
I
nothing
think
else.
that is what happened. I think that's probably what happened. Was it Handel's razor, right? The
Occam's razor.
is it Occam's razor? I thought Occam's razor is whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
No, that's Murphy's law.
Oh.
Occam's razor is that
The simplest solution is
the
usually the right
simplest
one.
definition is the right one. Yeah,
What
or
is
yeah,
Handel's?
not definitely. Handles. I don't know. You get a handle on yourself. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh. God, I need to get a hold of my razors. Is what I need to do. So look at this. I just want to show you guys something real fast. So this is the Apple Watch site or page on Apple's website, right? It shows you all the features and everything. But what I find interesting here, and what I think kind of affirms what we've been saying, that they kind of switched last minute, is there's no buy button and or pricing button. Like if you go to the iPhone page, there's a view pricing button, and if you press it, it lets you configure it. You can see the different colors, you can see the different prices. And with Apple Watch, there's none of that stuff, which I find to be kind of odd.
It's not available. You can't pre-order
Right.
it.
Which
So,
yeah,
there's been a few, like, certain people in the Apple blogosphere have said, oh, well, that's just not the way that manufacturing works, But, like they would have been doing this. This would have been in the works for 3 years or something like that. I don't know how much I believe that, but if you think about all the things that have happened in the past year, one of the things that people were talking about causing the delay was that Apple, Apple engineers, typically fly to China a lot, right?
mm-hmm.
Like back and forth. They're working these things out. They're producing this stuff on a small line, and they're seeing how it's working, right? And not a high enough percentage of these things are working out or workable, good enough. So supposedly because of COVID and all the travel restrictions, all that, and all the shutdowns and whatnot, there's been a lot less ability for them to travel back and forth and to hammer these problems out, right? So that's what makes this all kind of plausible to me, is that all of these real world problems made it much more difficult to get this thing finalized and get it up and running and do all the different sort of, I don't know what. I'm not a manufacturing guy. I wish Leander was here to talk about it because he studied that stuff a lot more. But like all the different levels of ramping it up to produce 1 million of these things a day or whatever.
The one thing I do want to highlight that I thought was actually pretty cool about the Apple Watch is they made it brighter when your wrist is down. So if you have a Series 5 and beyond with the always on display, you know how it goes from like the active mode to like the non-active mode, so it's brighter when it's active and not as bright when it's not active. But they made the non-active mode. What the hell's going on over there, Lewis?
No, man, I don't know. Something weird happened.
You doing the Monster Mash or something?
What the hell? I really don't know. What the hell? That is bizarre.
You're gonna get us kicked off of YouTube. Come on. Okay. I just muted your I wish I knew how to do that, but I just muted your audio so that we don't get booted off YouTube for playing copyright music. What was it? Was it You don't know what's playing music? I guess Papa E's going to be doing this show solo. They're dropping like flies. First, El Caney's gone. Then Lewis is gone. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep talking while Lewis, let me know when you got it figured out, okay? Actually, I'll be able to tell because the music will stop playing. The music is still going, guys. I can still hear it. Oh, man. So now the screen is 70% brighter when your wrist is down. So, that will make your watch easier to see when it's not in active mode, which is pretty useful, in my opinion. Lewis, is it your computer that's playing the audio? Or is it your, Oh, my gosh. All right. we got to wrap it up, man. This show is completely off the rails. We didn't get to talk about the fact that there's no AirPods 3. We didn't get to talk about the fact that Apple has an upcoming event. But we're out of time. We've been going for like an hour and a half. So I think we need to go ahead and start wrapping it up. I'm going to wait for you to stop the music, though, Lewis, so that we can go ahead and wrap it up. The one thing I will mention just real fast, iPad mini, which clearly got the best in show. Do I have it up here somewhere? Yeah, there we go. Oh, you did it. Do you know what it is? Or do you know what it is? Or did the music just stop? Uh-oh. What? It just started again. Lewis. What is going on over there? Mute all tabs. No, he can't because we're recording and he would be muting me too. Lewis, is it your computer? Lewis is he doesn't know what's going on. All right, Lewis. Let me know when you got it figured out. I'm gonna wrap up with this story on iPad mini. Boy, was I surprised when they showed the iPad mini and it was the best in show. So we have an all new design. Now this one did look like the leaks that we saw, some of which coming from Front Page Tech. So it looks like they got this one right. And here's the interesting thing about iPad mini. I think that it's basically an iPhone Pro Max. It's an iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's got the same A15 chip in it as the iPhone 13 Pro, including the extra GPU core, which is going to make it really great for gaming, especially because it doesn't have the variable refresh rates of the screen. So you're getting all that GPU horsepower just for playing games and stuff. And it's got the Touch ID on the top, on the power button, like the new iPad Air, which I don't love, but it helps keep the cost down. It's got USB-C now, so you can use it with all of your USB-C accessories. You can also charge it with your MacBook Pro charger and your iPad Pro charger, so that's pretty cool. Processing performance is up to 40% faster on the new iPad mini, so it's a huge increase in speed. I mean, it's been like years since the iPad Pro was updated. In fact, I wasn't sure they were ever actually going to update it because it had been so long. I was like, are they going to discontinue this thing? And then it also gets the faster Wi-Fi 6. And if you want, you can do 5G. So you can spend, I think, $650 to get yourself an iPad mini, which is essentially an iPad or an iPhone 13 Pro Max. The music is still going. The music is still going. I'm sorry, guys. You guys can't hear it because I muted it, but I can. So I'm trying to do this while the music is going. Lewis, did you figure it out?
Yeah, I finally figured it out.
What the hell was going on?
The HomePod Mini was possessed.
It thought that you said something, and it was just playing music.
It's way back behind my monitor, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. I thought it was coming. Oh, my God. So embarrassing. I've never seen anything like it. I have no idea why I started playing. No idea why I was playing that particular song. I actually thought you're pranking me.
You thought I was pranking you?
I mean, it's a perfect song to have just like come on and not stop when the thing's gone for too long. Let's definitely have the Clash come on and start playing. Should I stay or should I go now? I thought you were joking.
One of my favorite parts is when it stopped and I was like, oh, it's over. And then it just restarts again.
Yeah.
It's just playing again.
Literally no idea why. I was closing tabs. I was closing every single piece of software on my Mac. I couldn't figure out where the noise was coming from. Oh, my God.
That was
ludicrous. That's it. I'm unplugging that thing. I'm taking it out of this office.
Is it like buried under your desk or something?
It's just kind of back a little ways.
All right, hold on.
Because it kept, coming on at all kinds of times. When it kept taking over when I was like listening to something on my AirPods. I would get a little too close. It does that little fancy thing. So it's so smart, and it's like, no, I don't want you to take over. So anyway, I moved it further into the distance. Oh my God! Pranked by Siri once again.
Okay, we got to wrap up here. So just final thoughts on the iPad Mini. Best of show. I was saying. They raised the price on it. They went from $399 to $499, which is a bummer, of course. But I was essentially saying, Lewis, I don't know if you heard my spiel, it's essentially like an iPhone 13 Pro Max Max. It has the same A15 chip in it. They put the camera from the iPhone 12 in it, so it has a great camera now. They improved the front-facing camera. I actually think this is one of the good things about the pandemic. If there are any good things, it's that it finally forced Apple to start putting better front-facing cameras in all of their hardware, because especially in their Macs, they're crap. Like, they're so bad for so long. It's crazy to spend, $3,500 on a MacBook Pro, and it has a webcam from, the iPhone 7. It's really it's really ridiculous. And now they're improving the FaceTime cameras in all of their hardware. And so you get an all new front facing camera, which I'm sure is going to look beautiful, because that's kind of like a non-starter now. Everyone has to have that. And then it also works with that new, what was the name of that feature that follows you all around? Center Stage?
Center Stage.
So it works with that feature now, so that you can walk all around and have the camera follow you and, keep you in focus. And then it just has that beautiful new edge-to-edge design. Well, it's not really edge-to-edge, but it's a liquid retina display, so it has like rounded corners, and it's a little less of an edge. It still has pretty big bezels, IMO, but you get the speed. And if you get the cellular version, then it's essentially an iPhone. I mean, you could spend you could spend $650 and get a 5G iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now you lose
really won't fit in your pocket.
Well, if you have Leander Caney Crooklyn jeans, it's going to fit just fine. But that's a problem with your jeans. It's not a problem with the device. You do lose all the fancy camera technology, although not all of it. It has Smart HDR3. So you're not getting Smart HDR4, but it does get Smart HDR3. So essentially, it's like this thing is like a hybrid between an iPhone 13 Pro and an iPhone 12 Pro. So you're getting like this strange mixture of both these phones, and it's only $500. So when you think about it that way, I kind of think it's like a pretty sweet deal.
I've just never been too entranced by the Mini. Never owned one. Never really saw a need to.
Well,
I guess people love them.
Yeah. I mean, my wife has one, and I've been telling everyone I know, don't tell my wife about this new Mini. She already has a Mini. And
I'm sure she knows.
If she finds out about this one, I'm going to have to buy it. And, actually, I was thinking I was going to be buying a bunch of stuff anyway, and now I'm like, I'm probably going to just get an iPhone 13 Pro. So maybe I can buy her a Mini, because I'm not buying me as much stuff. But there you have it. We should go ahead and wrap it up. We'll have to move some of this stuff over to next week. I think we were going to talk about what's still coming in 2021. Actually, let's just rattle that off really fast, okay? Because I want to wrap up here, because we've been going like an hour and a half. But Mac Rumors put together a nice little updates on our upcoming second fall event here, right? Because there is one more upcoming, and hopefully this one's going to be a lot more exciting than the one that we just got. Hopefully this one won't have to be hosted by Prince Valium. So we have at least one more event coming up. We know that, right? And we're supposed to be getting a 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro with MagSafe, SD card slots, HDMI ports, and the M1X. That's going to be a joyous occasion. I can't wait to see what happens with that. And also, let's not forget an M1X Mac Mini. I hope they release these at the same time, because the M1X Mac Mini, I think it's going to be a powerhouse. I'm calling it the Mac Mini Pro. And I really want to know what the specs are going to be on both these machines before I make a buying decision, because I feel like I might lean towards the Mac Mini. And then hopefully we'll also be getting the AirPods 3, because that, for some reason, didn't happen at this event, even though everyone was expecting it. And then also, and here's a really interesting tidbit. What about that mixed reality headset that Tiny Hands Alex Z. Heath, the trader at The Verge, talked about a while back? So he mentioned that Apple is working on this, and I think this specific render came from information that Alex Z. Heath gathered when he was at the information. And this thing is going to be crazy. Apple is expecting this to possibly take over for the iPhone. There's a lot of applications for this specific device that I think a lot of people haven't thought about yet. It's not going to just be for watching movies and video games. Like, it's going to do way more than that. And Gurman was saying that the mixed reality headset may be announced at an event in the next several months. So how crazy would it be if we got this one at the hardware event via a one more thing? That would be, insert the emoji with the mind being blown, because that would be super exciting. That might even make up for the event that we just witnessed. Oh, Alfonso Carlos is saying, Erfan, Alex E. Heath was on the Verge cast. Oh, of course, it's come full circle. Of course he was on the Verge cast. You know what's so funny is I don't know if I was telling Alex this or if it was Buster, but I was like, man, just when I thought the Verge couldn't get any worse, they went and they hired you. Son of a gun. Boy, was I wrong. Of course, Alex E. Heath is on the Verge cast. That's truly where he belongs. That's where he's always wanted to be. But you know what? Even though he's a traitor, I love him. And I feel good knowing that everything that he knows is because of things that I taught him. I mean, where would Alex E. Heath be if not for me? And that makes me feel good about me, Lewis. I'm happy for him, but I'm more happy for me. You know what I'm saying? My little Heathy is finally making it in the world, and maybe he'll be able to grow some hair below his eyebrow line. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, alopecia's tough. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. That's a little cast we have for you guys this week. Oh, what a show this was. If you want to come, say hi. We're on Twitter. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening. Shout out to Ian and for John Prosser for being in the chat a little bit. It's fun hanging out with you guys. John, maybe we can get you on next week. Ian, maybe you should come on. That'd be fun. Alrighty. New episodes of CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. I got nothing left, Lewis.
I just wondered, should I stay or should I go?
Well, if you go, there may be trouble.
Yeah.
But if you stay, and this is actually true, there may be double. Because, you know, that music almost got us booted off YouTube. You play more than 5 seconds of copyright music, that's it. Susie would just ski. She sends the YouTube SWAT team to your house. They bust in. The K9 comes for you. You got to be careful on YouTube these days, Liz.
I hope you were able to hit the dump.
I'll edit it out. We'll edit it in post. All right, I'm hovering over the end stream button as we speak. I think it's enough. Bye, y'all.